Yeah, so I've got a light behind me here, which is simulating natural light. So I don't know if you guys have noticed that depending on which way you turn, it affects how you look. Have you noticed that? So
Yeah.
and also like the further forward and back you go, obviously it's creating shadows. So Rob's had a shoot, he'll know this. So I generally like things from an angle, so sort of this way and this way, sort of sort of diagonal. So the further round you turn, you see there, you're getting more shadow. Further that way, it's bleaching out a bit more. Equally, say if that was a window, if you're coming further towards the window, it's going to obviously be brighter. Stepping away this way is going to give you more shadow. So that, in terms of lighting, that affects quite a lot. Dave, do you want to just turn that? I've got an actual LED light in here just because I'm in the garage, and so just turn it off, and then you can. So this is natural light with the garage door open a little bit. So when you're using your phone as well, when you're using your iPhone, I don't know if it does it on like an Android, but when you're using your iPhone, if you tap on the screen, I don't know if you want to like have a look now, but if you tap on the screen, there's like a little square appears. I think it just comes brighter outside, which is massively affects how I look, to be fair. But press on the screen and you can like, there's a little sun appears. So if you go up, that makes it brighter, and down, it makes it darker. So that can affect quite a lot as well, to be fair. So if you just turn this way and turn round, sun's just come outside, so that's affecting me again. So you're not really in control, but I come closer. I'm just looking at myself now, looking how it's affecting me. So basically, you want to be light needs to be coming from the side and generally a higher angle, ideally. So do you want to just close garage door and turn like LED spotlights on, and then we'll have a look. Right, turn light on first, so I can't see me. Turn proper light. So these lights are coming from above a bit more because they're just general spotlights. So you can see now that just gives a completely different light again. So if you're taking pictures, obviously like at night, that affects you as well. So in terms of taking selfies, I'd recommend taking them at a similar time of day if you can. So that's kind of basics of that in terms of lighting. Has anyone got any questions about that?
Yeah.
I've got a quick question. So in terms of, because I'm a PT as well, so I'm looking to get some like selfie photos as well. For me, would you recommend getting something like one of those actual standing ring light type things as well? Would that help?
All I've got is can you just grab another one out of that bag? I'll just show you what I've got. So I've just got like, it's similar, but it's like an LED light. So it's just like a panel. So also the harder the light, the more shadows and stuff you're gonna get into, and just it's gonna be like a harder light, so it'll just give you more sort of clear shadows and sort of clear. You'll just look a bit sharper. Whereas if you had a soft light, then it makes everything look a bit more airbrushed. So yeah, it would have to be a ring light, but then equally like a spotlight would do it. Have you got spotlights in your house?
We've got some in the kitchen, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's quite a messy background to have, I think, with some photos in the kitchen. I'll have a think. So
that's another thing I always recommend is like keeping. So there's 3 things I recommend for like progress selfies. So trying to take it at the same time of day. Trying to take it with like a clean background and also in the same clothes, ideally, just so you can get a clear comparison, and also like a similar pose. So I think a semi-neutral pose is better because then you can sort of compare yourself on a whole rather than just your best bits, because we do tend to avoid the worst bits and just photograph the best bits, don't we? So in terms of lighting, that seems to be the key thing, really. Just a hard light coming from the side. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Has anyone else got any other questions about lighting or anything that I want to pose in? No? Okay. So in terms of poses then, I know, Lucy, you're competing. So you're into your mandatory poses. Is there anything in terms of your mandatory poses that you're struggling with when you're taking progress selfies?
So the difficult one for me tends to be the back pose, because obviously you drop on one side, don't you, naturally, and I've damaged my shoulder on the side that I drop on as well. So I'm finding it quite hard to feel when I've managed to lift my shoulder up and be balanced. Yeah. Unless the easiest thing for me to do is to take a video and then screenshot the bit where I actually get it right in order to send it over.
Yeah, are you trying to hold, where are you doing self-time, or are you trying to hold your camera at the same time as posing?
No, so I'm putting my phone on the table and putting a timer on it if I try and take a photo, but if I try and do that, I'm just not getting it. So I'm having to do a video and try and redo my back pose several times until I finally get one that's almost with my shoulders level. Yeah. So I'm struggling with that kind of awareness of what my body's doing.
I think everyone struggles with that, to be fair. Yeah, I think everyone's a bit imbalanced. So it's just about practicing, basically. And if you know, I've got an imbalance on the right, so if you know that your left goes up a little bit more when you pose, you just need to correct that when you pose. That's all it is, whether it be for a photo shoot or on stage, or even when you're training. So it's just being aware of it and just sort of counterbalancing it, really. But in terms of taking your selfies, I don't know if you guys know, also in terms of quality, if you're taking it with the front camera on your phone, it's going to be less quality than the other side. So the better quality side is sort of the back side here. Obviously, turn your flash off as well. We don't want you filling them shadows in. And also, like I said, tap on the screen to focus it. But have you all used self-timer and everything on your phone? Yeah. So that can be quite good as well, but it's just tricky. Obviously, to get it right, you just need to take a lot, basically. So, Rob, is there anything you sort of like wanted to know specifically, or that you struggle with?
I'm struggling with it all, to be fair. No, I'm just going through the motions, just getting ready for summer, really.
Yeah.
So I just thought I'd just jump on this and just see what you were saying, and then, like I say, I'm ready to go again at about the same time as last year.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard for me to know specifically what you want to know, but in terms of taking just progress photos from the beginning of, like, obviously you said you're on a bulk, or you're wearing a bulk, you're going to lean down now. I think like consistency is good as well when you're taking your progress photos. So, like I said, try and take it in the same place, same clothes, same time of day, because obviously your food affects the way you look as well. So I find personally, like, usually after breakfast, after cardio and breakfast, I look better, bit fuller. So yeah, just try and keep it consistent and just on a weekly basis, basically. So in terms of posing then, I like to do a front, a side, and if you notice, just turn that light back on for me. So if you're doing a front shot, basically just try and shoulders back and stand up nice and tall. And then a side shot, Rob, you'll know this from having a shoot with me, but try and pull if you twist, if you're just like that, then you're not looking, your waist not going to look very small. So if you just put your feet apart and then twist, and then usually bring your shoulder further around, your waist's going to look a lot smaller, basically. And then for your back shots, if you get someone else to take it for you, or put it on a self timer, you basically want to be coming, spreading your lats out here. So just spreading your lats out, and then either just on your hips or just like there, and just looking straight forward, just so you get a nice neutral position for your progress selfies, basically. So I think I've kind of covered it, but is there any burning questions that you wanted to know? Is there anything you can think of, Dave, that I've not covered? No. So just maybe angles as well. Like I would say I usually think having the camera at sort of a waist height is usually better. Just so you're not sort of going too high or too low, so your perspectives are the same. If you're competing on stage, it might also benefit to have some pictures from the floor or lower down, just because that's the view that the judges are going to take on you. So I was used to record my videos from a lower down angle so I could see the perspective of what the judges were going to be looking at as well. And it's just about holding that pose, I think. So
it's worth practicing holding the pose because you have to hold them for quite a while. It can be quite tiring, can't it?
Yeah, that's a good point. So just sort of holding them poses if you are on stage. Even in, to be fair, like shoots, Rob, would you say like it was difficult and I made you hold your poses for quite a long time?
Yeah, this first time I've ever done out like that. So yeah, it was difficult. Trying to tense your abs, even just for longer than a few seconds, was probably the hardest part.
Yeah. So just getting yourself into that condition and just practicing in the mirror, practicing on video, and you'll just get used to it. It's just about practice, basically. So on stage, you're going to have to hold your poses. From personal experience, I know you're going to have to hold your poses for a long, long time. And it can, to the point where you're checking. So it's good to practice that while you're doing your progress pictures. So yeah. So I think I'm gonna, I don't know what time it is, but what time is it? 20 past. So if you think of anything else, just let me know. So in terms of posing for a shoot, then we'll kind of go through that. I know Rob's done a shoot before, but practice makes perfect, as I say. So I know Lucy and Abby, you've got a shoot booked as well, so it'll be good for you to kind of see typically what I would get you starting off with. So usually I'd start with arms and abs, just get you pumped up a little bit. So usually like a knee dead bar or like bicep curl. Start with something like moderate. So you'll see here, if I just come from the front, you're not really seeing anything. And one thing to watch out for would be these dumbbells sort of hitting this your ab area because you can't see anything. So what I would tend to do is turn you away. You need to stand up nice and tall, shoulders back, and then either together or alternate, don't really matter. But the sweet spot is kind of there. But what you need to do is just make sure you've got your abs pulled in nice and tight and maybe a little twist to make your waist look smaller. Because if you're too front on, we're not actually seeing your biceps, basically, unless you've got massive shoulders and you don't want to show off your biceps. Equally turning this way, can you see the shadows there? Coming more. So obviously I'll deal with the lighting, so this is more about posing. So it's just about a nice slow, so I'll just get you to come up. A nice slow negative in the sweet spot is probably about there, to be fair, or there. So hopefully just in terms of like selfies and stuff, can you see, going back to that, how different the lighting makes you look? Just that's just turning your body, basically. So I generally get you to do some arm work to begin with, just get you pumped up. So doing pictures of you at training and then do a few poses. So is there any specific poses that anyone wants to know before I start, and then I can make it relevant? Or all of it?
All of it.
All of it. So I'll just run through like my favourite ones. I've got some wrote down basically. So in terms of waist, then this is the one thing that I find a lot of people struggle with is their abs. So I'd always start with feet sort of close together, in terms of making your waist look smaller and ab posing. So make sure your lats are nice and wide. And then you don't want to twist so if you're twisting this bit, it's just going to show your waist around this way. It's not really going to show much. You want this narrow bit here. A bit, internet keeps going off, okay. So what we want to do is shoulders back, basically. Lats nice and tense here. You want to slightly tilt your pelvis back, but you need to think about a string pulling you up to the ceiling. And then just give yourself a little twist in there. And what we want to do is we don't want this shoulder to disappear either. We want this shoulder to come round. So it's very much like a stage pose, and it's up to you, and it depends what your body shape's like. If you want to put the weight into your front leg or your back leg. What you want is the elongation of the waist there. So I'll just do it around the other side. In fact, do you want to just move that light around there? We'll see what the difference is as well. So I've got the weight in my near side leg. Just move it light. So, okay, will it turn down in my light or not? No, just one sec. Is that it? I'll just turn it off for a sec. Let's have a look, see what that looks like. So we're basically trying to get your waist nice and taut, and then a twist round, basically. And then just turn it back on. Right. Just take it back that way. So just playing around with stuff like this also demos to you all that depending where your light source is, it looks different. So if you're using a window light, it can make a difference as well. So basically, can you see now we've put the light a little bit further behind me? I've stepped forward and you can see a little bit more abs. If we just go back there, you're not going to see as much. It's filling in the shadows. Main thing is we're trying to create shadows here. So in terms of tensing abs then, so you're basically just pulling in a vacuum. So think about your stomach, belly button area, just pulling back to your spine. The wrong thing to do is generally just looking ribby like that. So that's what a lot of people do. And as I tense your abs, they just do that and they just pull up. What you actually want to do is tense, like I just said, pushing down. So you want to like push down. I imagine my abs going down to the floor, basically, and just pulling back, so nice and tight. You should still be able to talk and everything with this. So if we're tensing abs and then coming round, you should put it this way. So also if you look down and then look up, get your legs set and straight. So look down and then you can tense round. So that's generally how you do your abs. As I don't got any questions about that, because that's every single person I photograph struggles with, just about. No? So in terms of abs then, it's just about, I think for ladies, it's just about keeping your waist nice and tipped back. So we're getting these obliques down there, So just keeping your waist, so basically like that. So your waist is tipped back. So if you want a nice slim waist, you just think about elongating it and coming up. This is me stood normally, and just by lifting my frame up, that does help massively. So once we're there, I've got my legs currently, I'm stood on one leg bent. If you notice, if I push my shoulders back like that, my shoulders look narrower. And if you're trying to basically show off what you've built, if you literally just bring your shoulders forward, keeping that waist elongated, it's going to make your shoulders look a lot rounder. Equally, if you just twist, then see how much different you look there. So basically, there's 3 things for abs. I think it's 1, getting that nice line down there and just keeping it sort of semi-feminine. Rob, I know this is suit you down to T, like it is. So just keeping them shoulders forward and then pushing. I'm just going to push and tense my delts. So just on this side, you see there, you just push in slightly against your leg. You see the difference? All that feathering comes out and you get a bit more roundness on there. And equally, if you add your shoulders back, you can't do it. So shoulders forward, arms slightly bent, elongate your waist. There's a lot to think about. Push your bum back and take a deep breath and leave a smile as well, basically. So in terms of upper body then, keeping with that, if we look at triceps, so a lot of people just sort of hunch forward. The key is here just to pull back, and you're going to get a lot more detail on your shoulder area. Might better do it the other way, perhaps, I don't know. So if we were, this is kind of wrong to do that there. If you pull back, and what we're trying to see, because triceps on the back is pull round, but equally when you're doing that, you've also got to pull up to get this area nice and taut. I've got the weight in my front leg at the moment, so it elongates my waist. If I had my leg the other way, I'd start getting creases in there. No matter how lean you are, you end up getting creases in there. If you push, basically, if you're pushing your bum towards camera, you're going to get creases in there. I'll just do that again to swap my weight over. So just elongating your waist by switching the load of your weight on your legs is going to change how you look in this area and make you look lean or not, basically. So putting the weight in my front leg, tensing the tricep, pulling back, and then a little twist round makes a massive difference. And also get a bit of back detail in there as well. So what to do with this arm then? So generally I just back there, and it always feels a bit overextended. So you're not really wanting to hide it. Do you see there? It makes a massive difference to how your physique looks and also like how wide your back looks. So by pulling it forward, you've just halved your body and your muscle mass. So pulling it round, and then where to look is one thing everyone else says. So I just said just look forward or look down or something like that. You don't always have to look in at camera itself. So has anyone got any questions so far? No? Oh, very quiet. Taking it in. So I'm gonna just grab a bat. And Rob, did we do this pose? This one where you hold on to this? I think we did.
I can't remember. Long time. A lot's happened since then.
Right, so this is one of my favourite poses, and I did this last time. I did a shoot for myself, so it's quite nice, this one, because you get a bit of bicep in there, you can get a bit of abs and all sorts, depending on how you do it. So I'm forward, but I'll just take this down a little bit as well. So basically grabbing the bar, and this is quite a good one for abs and triceps. So we can do a bit of a twist around that way, and just sort of look if it's a really strong pose if the camera angle's down from the floor. And then equally, if you just put that sort of where your feet are, and just in there, you can get a bicep in there. It's just quite a nice strong pose. You get a bit of shoulder, abs. I feel it's quite good. You can do that from the side, so you can push that way. And sort of you want to be like pulling in, so a bit of a bicep curl situation, and play around with pulling this forward and back depending on your body type. But can you see there it elongates? Just to show you, if we change the leg again, so I've got the weight in my back leg now, it elongates my waist. If we push that way, I'm not looking quite as lean there. So that's quite a nice pose. We can equally also push the angle of the bar out and create like a V. So this can be quite nice as well for your obliques. So depending on, can't really see it there to be fair, his lighting's not great, but it can be quite good if we can sort of crunch over, and obviously the camera angle will be different to what you guys have got there, but that's quite a good one. So just in terms of using a bar, that can be quite good, and also even just sort of holding it like that can be quite good, and then we can put it into like a bicep curl or something like that as well. Let's have a look. So triceps as well, if we could basically do something on, you can't really see here because the camera's not right angle, but something like this on a box or a bench or something like that can be quite good for shoulders and also for triceps as well. Right, okay, glutes, I got down glutes and legs, so let's just push this down a little bit. Right, so in terms of posing legs, everyone seems to forget about the legs for some reason. So obviously, we've gone through upper body. We need to sort of think about your legs all the time when you're posing, because I don't always photograph everything from just waist upwards. So I think the main thing is just keeping them tense. So in terms of posing, I always think get your base right first, get your groundings right. So I always start either with legs, weight in either side, depending on what suits you best, or that way, or together. But just get your base nice and strong. Think of like a statue. If your foundations are not strong, then you're not going to look great. So get your legs straight and nice and strong, and then sort of work upwards in your frame. I always do abs last. But in terms of posing glutes, then you've got to look at practicing and working out which way is going to suit you. Obviously, it's more applicable to ladies, but in terms of posing glutes, sort of on this area, you need to be arching your back, and then just try. You're gonna have, this takes a lot of practice, to be fair. So you do your progress photos, just trying to tense your hamstrings in this area, and then sticking your back. So you're gonna have to have your pelvis tipped quite far back in order to get your glutes, and then you're just basically trying to tense, essentially, but just always keeping that foundation nice and strong. Does that make any sense at all? I hope. So I'm gonna set pull-ups, just do a bit of back stuff basically. So I'm gonna twist this around. Bear with me. Get to see my whole gym setup now. Well, I'll let my trusty assistant move the camera around. So let's have a look here. So this light is just basically emulating the flash on my camera. Abby's got a question. What weight would you use if you're holding for a while? Would you go lighter when you train? Yes, definitely would go lighter than when I train. Probably about half even. So just going to put that there. So lighting wise, for like pull-ups and stuff, I'd probably you essentially for a pull-up, you're just going to go. Let's have a look at camera angle. It's a bit tight, to be fair. So for a pull-up, you're just going to go basically do your pull-up essentially. So hold it up there and then nice slow down for photos, because you don't want to be basically you don't want to be doing too many reps and wasting your energy. So a nice fast up and then slow down. So you'll get a difference if you can do it this way. So just a nice slow negative for your pull-ups. Same for if we're doing pull downs as well. So you want to start to think about your lats a bit more. I'm just going to get a box and I'll use it. Get my makeshift box here for this one. And I've got a lightweight at the moment, so I'm not going to mess around with it just for this purpose, but just check that you can see that. So we're going to try and tense your lats. Basically, this is more about mind-muscle connection. So, can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's more about mind-muscle connection. So you're trying to tense your lats back and then pull down slowly and a slow release up. That's going to make sure basically that you are not overworking and you're not going to get as tired. So just about making that width there, essentially. So just trying to get the width rather than trying to get, so you're not wanting to pull back too much, because it's going to make it's going to basically squash your back. So what you want to do is try and get that width there, if that makes sense. So weight wise, I'd definitely use probably half as much as usual. So going from that to a pullover. So what I try to do is basically look at how you would train essentially, and just run through those, and then in between do some posing. So I'll run through some poses that we might go through as well. So pullovers are quite a nice one. I'll put a bit of weight. I'm going to be aching after this. So looking at pullovers then is quite a good shot as well. So I've tried to put this camera similar to where I would be stood. So looking at pullovers, you want to basically elongate your body back. So we don't want to be too upright, just as you would. And then squeezing at the back. So it's that squeeze that we want to get for the shot, for the photo. A nice slow negative. And just squeezing there, making sure your lats are nice and wide, essentially, rather than squeezing elbows in. You're trying to keep your elbows nice and wide. And then in between, we might do something sort of like this, but so either shoulder that way or hand that way. Or we might do something like this to get triceps in there. elongating that leg back, either messing around with your foot position and weight on your foot, or just anything really in general. Hanging, that's quite a good one as well. So for ladies more so feet, just take that back a bit. It's like really bright in my eyes. So hanging from there, and then pushing your pelvis back, and a bit of a twist round can be quite nice. And then sort of looking at camera that way. So there's all sorts I can do in between, but essentially that's the like bare bones of what I do in a shoot, plus other little bits as we see it. No two shoots are the same. So yeah. So as that kind of gave everyone a good idea of posing, and is there any other questions at all? No? I'm sure you all think of something to email me about afterwards. So hopefully that's give, like Lucy and Abby, you've got a shoot booked quite soon. So that's give you a little bit of confidence to sort of play with. In terms of taking your progress selfies, I just keep it sort of consistent, lighting coming from the side, just practicing basically as well. Abby says, will you remind me of these on the day? Yes, 100%. As we go through the shoot, I'm not going to say, right, remember all these poses. I'll just sort of run through it. And like I said, no two shoots are the same. So it's not a set formula. I'll look at where your strengths are, and also ask you what you enjoy in terms of exercises and where you think you want to show, like what body part you want to show off the most. So whether shoulders, abs, glutes, whatever. And then we'll sort of start with that and build on that. And then just as things, sometimes one little movement can look completely different on one person to another. So I'll always be looking at you and how you're looking and see which suits you best, basically. So, Lucy. So Lucy, food and water consumption prior to shoot. Obviously I know you've got a trainer, so I would probably ask him more because he knows your body better than me. For me, I would keep it the same, or even add more carbs in, but it depends how carb sensitive you are. I've done it before where I've took carbs out, I've manipulated water, all sorts. But personally, I just prefer to keep it the same, because if you're coming in good condition, then you should look good anyway. So yeah, just try to come in good condition a week or two before, which you will because you're competing. So you have nice cheat meal.
Try and find out what time you're competing, because you had the water thing. You were later than they said, so you're dehydrated, and then you had to go longer than you thought.
Yeah, I think she means for shoot though.
Right.
But yeah, in terms of competing, Lucy, like I ended up competing about 4 or 5 hours after I thought I was going to be on stage. So that were quite difficult, quite traumatic to be fair, because I had to last all that time. But yeah, that's a different thing really. So just speak to Suki, Lucy, because he will advise you, basically. So anything else at all? Are we good? Fab. Well, if any of you got any more questions, obviously you've got my email address and contact details. So feel free to just message me. And if there's anything else nearer to the shoot day, if you want to come down for a few more poses and anything like that, then let me know. Yes, I've recorded this, so I will send it out to you all, no problem at all. So But if you want me to go through anything in person or over video, then just let me know and I can do that as well. Quite happy to do that, so you can come down to the studio and we'll do a little posy thing as well. So fab. Right, so I'm gonna love you and leave you all. Thank you for jumping on and have a good Sunday.
Yeah, thanks for your help. Have a good weekend.
No worries, no worries. I'm gonna get out in the sunshine, I think.
Yeah, me too.
Fab. All right, nice to see you all anyway, and I will see you soon.
Bye.
All right, see ya. Bye.